I'm Matt Cunningham, and I'd like to speak with you and share with you today a new diet that I'm on. It's kind of the hemp challenge that I got from Manitoba Harvest up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I'm going to take it a little bit further. So I decided to make this New Year's video and become going on a kind of a hemp diet. And I've added a few more ingredients in this, of course. But anyway, what it is hemp, of course, has been around for millenniums. It's one of the most nourishing plants there is on Earth. Unfortunately, it's illegal in the United States to grow it, but we can bring it in. Now, none of this hemp has any THC, which is a psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. But it still has a lot of the nourishment, some of the CBDs and cannabinoids that you might find in marijuana, but without the THCs. So it's completely legal. You just can't grow it, other than maybe in Colorado, Washington. There they can smell this. You know, smoke is the sign of victory and freedom and liberty, so to speak. Anyway, what I usually do is I start out with a little bit of juice. This is just a cranberry berry juice, and I'll take that. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll add a little banana, okay? Alright, so you can see a little bit better. And I'll take a little bit, about a third or half banana, depending how much I want. And a lot of times lately I've been using these clementines, which actually you can use almost any kind of fruit that you might want. Okay, and what I've been using the clementines, and we have a whole lot left over the holidays. And everyone, of course, you know, in New Year's they all want to lose weight or do this or make their resolutions. And I like to get healthy. All right, I'm diabetic. I have glaucoma in my eyes. I've got cataracts. I've got neuropathy. My feet are numb. So I need to start taking my diabetes very serious. So I'll put in some vegetables. Another thing I like to is add fruit. One of the best fruits I found was blueberries. Now I wish I could get some wild Maine blueberries, because they're the little tiny ones, and people rake them. These are picked, but the main ones you actually got to bend over and rake them. And I've done that and seen that done up in Maine. Now another thing what I do is I add some hemp oil. Okay. Now the hemp oil I bought comes in a big gallon jug. I find it's a little more economical, and what I do is I decant it into a small little jar. That way I can keep this, because the hemp oil does have to be refrigerated. All right, it's one of the things about it. I wish you could keep it longer, but it will go bad if you don't refrigerate it. And there is a shelf life to all these, because they actually are viable foods. You know, very nourishing foods at that. All right, and I'll add about a tablespoon of hemp oil. And then what I'll do is I'll add hemp hearts. Now the hemp hearts, you know, you can buy a big thing like this of it, and of course this is the most economical way to go. Or you can, you know, get it in this one 8 ounces, or you can get it in a 2 ounce, or this is just basically 0.9 ounce, right? And of course, there are different sizes. So what I'll do is I'll take about a tablespoon of the hemp hearts. Okay, take about a tablespoon, all right, and I'll add that to it. Now the next thing I add is protein. Now hemp is actually almost the same as far as protein and amino acids, you know, as any fish or meat or whatever it is. So it's extremely nourishing, and vegans love it because, you know, it's got all the amino acids and all the vitamins and minerals and everything else. You just can't find a better source of protein like this. And you can also get it in smaller containers, you know, for people to try and such. Of course, I wanted to get serious, so I got the large size, and also I got some little ones, so I could maybe sell to my friends and cover my costs. And then I'll take about half a teaspoon, and I'll add that. And that's the basic hemp diet. Now what I've done is I've made it a little bit different. And I think there's a lot of superfoods out there that we need to start taking advantage of. Because one of the things I've found in food is, you know, we basically have sugars, fats, and carbohydrates, but they're not all equal. You know, the fat you get from bacon is not the same as the fat that you would say get from hemp oil. The sugar that you get from a Twinkie is not the same as sugar that you might get, you know, from citrus fruit, tangerine, or clementines they call them. And some of the other things what I like to do is, and then there's other types of sugar or sweeteners that a lot of people use, is I use this new stevia. Actually, I've grown the stevia, and I got some seeds from Paraguay, And these are the seeds. Now, they were hard to grow. Some of them, one year, I think, came out really good, and then the next year, I couldn't get any of any substance. It's just depending on the year and everything. But I do have some left over from a couple years ago, and the stevia is about 300 times sweeter. I use this sometimes in my coffee or to sweeten things that, I don't want a lot of sugar in. And I'll just take a little pinch and put that in. That's about all I need. Okay. And, of course, as I said, you can grow this. Now, another thing that a lot of people are using nowadays that's very nourishing is chia. Now, I don't know if you remember the chia pets back in a few years ago. We used to have chia pets for Christmas and everything else, and people would get these old clay animals, and terracotta animals, and they'd kind of put some sticky stuff around the outside, and then they put seeds on it, and they water it and such, and you got this plant going. Now, chia is extremely also, and I didn't really understand that, but it's actually another one of these superfoods. So I'll add a little chia seeds in that. Now, one of the things a lot of people will do is they'll plant this in a little dish, or they'll just soak it in water over a few days, and they can sprout it. And chia sprouts are actually very nourishing in salads and such like that. Now, another superfood that people are becoming aware of nowadays is flax seeds. And, of course, you could plant these too if you want. And what I'll do is I'll take about half a tablespoon of flax seeds. I'll add those. Now, another thing that a lot of people are dealing with is cacao. Most people all love chocolate. Well, chocolate basically is from the cacao. It's a seed or pod or whatever. And what you do is they have these nibs, or cacao nibs. And what they do is they break them up. But, of course, for fine lit chocolate or something like that, they're going to grind them very fine. And, of course, they have to add sugar to it. But we're going to do it without the sugar. But you can still smell that dark chocolate smell to it. It's like one of these really dark chocolate bars. They're 70% cacao. Well, this is 100% cacao. Okay, so we'll add that. Now, another thing that's very nourishing is gojo berries. These berries are probably one of the most nourishing berries as far as antioxidants, carotenes, everything else. They're incredibly nourishing. And what I do is I will take about a tablespoon. About that. And I'll take about a tablespoon of these, and you can see what they look like there, all right? Okay, and I'll add those in there, all right? Now, another thing that's very interesting, and this is probably good for, women, is maca. Maca is actually kind of a root vegetable that's grown in Peru. The Peruvian Indians have been using it for centuries. But some farmers down there once noticed that what brought it into mind was that all of a sudden they were feeding a group of animals a lot of maca. And what happened is the population of these animals just skyrocketed. They had more goats and pigs and hogs and chickens and everything else because they were eating the maca. And it's very good for hormonal issues, menstrual problems, testosterone issues and such. So this is something a lot of people might want to take into consideration. It's the maca. And all these you should really do some research on.
Every truck starts life the same way.
I had a very rude person just walk by. So anyway, I'll add some maca to this when you have teenagers and such. One of the problems I found with some of my teenagers is they're afraid of getting caught for having cannabis in their systems. And the reality is the difference between marijuana, which what people use, or horticultural cannabis, the people that you would say use medical marijuana, is totally different than what you'd have here. Now, they're all the same species of cannabis. Even the hops you use in beer is from the cannabis family. But the difference is, when you grow industrial hemp, what you're looking for are the seeds. All right. When you're looking for, the type of cannabis for medical marijuana, the last thing you want are seeds. Basically, what you want to do are have the flowers, and the flowers is what you're looking for. All right. So anyway, we've got all these ingredients in there. But anyway, what I was going to get back to say on the, there's no THC in these, or there's virtually none. I mean, it's so low, it's nil. And of course, it's been certified by the Canadian government, and actually even our FDA, after being extremely low in THC to be, not an issue, so to speak. And of course, this is all inspected, guaranteed by the government of both Canada and throughout the world. bullets are actually just perfect size. I drink one of these. You know, I've found that I've been losing weight, but the main thing that I've noticed is not so much losing the weight, but the amount of energy I now have. I have a lot more energy. I sleep better. It just helps me with my regulatory system. You know, at my age, you know, one of the main important things you want is a good bowel movement, and this stuff does help me with that. So it's a lot to it, you know. And you know, granted, I'm still a meat eater. I'm still going to have steak and potatoes and everything else because that's the way I grew up. But I do find that I can substitute my maybe 1 or 2 meals, or at least have it, you know, have one a day. And it kind of helps me throughout, and I kind of reduce a lot of the other stuff that I eat that probably is not good for you. I mean, granted, you can eat these, you know, 3 meals a day, and it'd be perfect. But I find that, you know, 1 in the morning and maybe 1 in the evening, and I don't eat as much. I kind of cut down on a lot of stuff, and it just makes you be that much more vibrant, so to speak. Anyway, happy hemp. Delicious. It does have a little bit of an earthy taste to it, but not too much. And I would recommend, try it. Bon appetit. Till next time.